Welcome, everyone. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I've definitely been having a good day so far. So Matthew, actually, I got that from introcave.com. Actually allows you to put in your own logo and all kinds of different options in there. Live coding, thanks for following. Hank, thanks for following. Hey, it was great. I saw you just a little bit ago on Twitch, watching the Build conference talking about AI. That was really cool to watch that. Myotive, hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for following. Definitely really appreciate that. Okay, I didn't. Dre Grammer 42, thanks for following. D Manley, thanks for following. Boy, so awesome to get all these great followers. So this is a new live stream. I'm actually my third week of doing this. And I've been having a lot of fun with this. But sure enough, why is everyone here? Everyone's here to hear about Code PaLOusa, which is great. A lot of work been going in that, and we've been having a lot of fun with that. So let's do this now. I'm doing a different scene here, so let's make sure that hopefully this will work right. So there we go. So real quickly, I did prepare some slides, more anything else to keep me on track of what I wanted to talk about today. So first I would talk about tailoring code. So this is, like I said, this is a stream I started. It's funny, I've been talking about this for a little bit over a year. I guess it finally took a pandemic for me to finally, get my butt in gear and actually get this working. So I stream weekdays at 11:30. So 11:30 to 1 o'clock. It's what I do during my lunch. And we have Tales while software development. We learn from each other and we write a bunch of code. That's the name. Plus, I was looking for something unique that I could get all over the place. So like I say, we stream every day. I hope you find it worthwhile to join other times. What we're working on right now, normally, is working on proof of concept for dynamic configurations. Right? You're not hearing my audio. Oh, okay. All right, then, Sunny Parks, I'm not sure why you're not hearing my audio. Okay. Okay, great. So, yeah, we definitely stream every day to 11:30. I will say tomorrow I'm going to have to make a little change to that. I have a contractor coming in at 12. That was the only time I can get them to come in. So I'm going to have to tweak my schedule tomorrow. But all right, and let me make sure I've got my focus where I want it. That there. All right. So real quick, while I have everyone's attention, I do want, I run a bunch of user groups. So just want to point out some things. Sure enough, tonight we have Jeremy Lickness and Arthur Vickers from the Entity Framework team. They're going to come and talk about past and future of Entity Framework. This should be a really great conversation. I'm really looking forward to that. So I hope a bunch of you can join that for tonight. Next week, Kevin Griffin, who also streams, definitely check him out at some point. He will be coming in talking about logic apps and Azure functions, which has been his big passion right now. So that should be a really great talk. June 9th, I was really excited to get this. Scott Hunter is going to be joining the Louisville.NET group to talk about .NET Core, right? So where is .NET Core 5 going? What's going to be in .NET 6? All that type of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. Should be a great evening. Lots of fun. And then the other big one announced is, on June 18th, we'll have Michael Perry, who's going to be talking about ACID 2.0. This is one of his new concepts. So that should be a really another great conversations. And sure enough, I mean, you can find all these. So basically, two different groups I've been posting about here. One is the Louisville.NET group. There is the link to that. The other one is the Louisville Azure group, and there is the link to that. So all these can be found on Meetup. A couple other groups that I am part of. So I help run the Louisville Tech Meetup, or Louisville Tech Leaders Meetup, sorry. We meet twice a month. On the second Tuesday, we meet 8 a.m., and that's just a roundtable where everyone can just talk about things going on in your life as a tech leader, right? And tech leader is whatever that means, whether you're a manager, you're a director, we have a VP. Actually, Scott Scott Drake helps me with that group. He's a VP. I'm down to, you're just leading a team. You're a team lead, right? So whatever it is, and we help each other out. There's also the remote workers meetup. Kind of funny the way how that meetup started. It got started earlier this year, before the pandemic became a pandemic. And it really was the intent of getting remote workers out of the house. But we've still been meeting, and mostly it's been people who are new to remote working and getting help with that. There's also the IT happy hour. So that meets the second Tuesday of the month. Although I will say it will not happen on June 9th. We're looking at what day to reschedule it because of Scott Hunter. And then the last group, which is in a hiatus right now, but the Louisville Tech Ladies, I hope we can get that restarted back up here in another month or two. But due to the pandemic, it kind of just went in hiatus for a little. All right, so those are all my groups. Like I say, go to meetup.com and you'll be able to find all this. But I wanted to talk about Codepalooza. That's really what we're here to talk about. Most everyone who's on this knows me well, knows that Codepalooza is definitely my love. So it was really hard to see when this pandemic and we were having to make changes to it. And a lot of conferences got canceled, and I understand why they got canceled. Some of which who could have gone online and such. And I listened to a lot of what they had to say and trying to find a way how to make Codepalooza 2020 as almost as close to a in-person conference as possible. So I do have a couple things we'll talk about. So an introduction, Codepalooza, what it is, and what is 2020. I want to talk for a moment about yes, there's also the Women in Tech Conference that's in December. Thank you, Dave, for pointing that one out. Also want to talk about the technology and partners. What's going to make this happen? And then I'll get into particulars, and then we'll have a question and answer. I will say I'm trying to watch the chat, but I've got it over in this monitor, so I might not see it as much, but definitely we'll get everything answered at the last section here. All right, so my introduction. So first off, I want to quickly explain Green Events and Technology. This is actually a new company, but it's revolving around running everything that I do, really just giving some more legal structure to everything I do. So I just want to quickly explain that. So Green Events is responsible for Codepalooza. Codepalooza actually is still Codepalooza Inc. It's doing business as now instead of just a main company. But then this company is also responsible for all the user groups that I'm part of, also for running events here in Louisville. So like Global Azure and Global DevOps Bootcamp. Don't know when those are going to be. Global Azure did have a virtual event this year, but there was still talk of doing something in the fall if we can finally meet. So we'll run something that. And then the Global DevOps Bootcamp was supposed to be June. That has been delayed to a TBA date. And then, and this is the new logo for Tail to Learn Code. I have a whole new package coming out. This is actually the first time I'm showing this logo, but Tail to Learn Code is part of the Green Events Technology Group. And really, the main reason why I showed all this is like, especially if you're one of the folks who register for Codepalooza via an invoice, you actually will see the invoices come from Green Events and Technology, because that's how everything's been reset up. All right, so Codepalooza. So real quick, what is Codepalooza for those that maybe not everyone has been to Codepalooza before or is new to Codepalooza? First, the executive committee. So obviously I run Codepalooza. I am the conference chair for the event, and basically the face of the event. I've been running this since it started 10 years ago, and it's been definitely become part of my life. But I cannot do this conference without help, and in particular, the two other members of my executive committee. So Katie Wright, who's responsible for our sponsorships, and does an awesome job of managing those sponsorships. I used to do sponsorship management, and I couldn't do anywhere near what Katie has been able to do. She really takes care of our sponsors, make sure that they have what they need, and make sure that the attendees get what they need out of the sponsors. And then Tina Maddox, she is responsible for our volunteers. Codepalooza is a nonprofit. It's a volunteer run. So Tina has been invaluable getting those volunteers and then running those volunteers, which for me has been great. because it allows me to deal more with just running the conference than having to figure out who all is going to get all the volunteer stuff done. So as I mentioned, CodePalooza over the years, been around for a while, right? I mean, this is our 10th year, and you know, we were supposed to be humble start beginnings. The funny part was Jeff Blankenberg, who at the time was a Microsoft evangelist up in Columbus, Ohio, he reached out to Louisville.net and said, "Hey, you guys should start a day of .net. You know, have like 30, 50 people. You know, one track, one day. I'm like, you know, that's great. But what if we targeted multiple days, multiple tracks, and let's target 150 people?" And that's what we did, right? And actually, we had 289 people, and it was awesome. Our first year, we had the one and only Douglas Crawford, right? Which was just an amazing presentation he gave, and we had amazing speakers, right? I mean, and this was before I was even speaking on a widely basis, so it was awesome to have him and the folks we had. And so we, you know, CodePalooza started as a bang, and sure enough, over the years, you know, we grew a lot, right? I mean, here's a picture from 2018, and that's Mayor Fisher, who's addressing our lunch crowd, talking about what Louisville's doing in the tech scene. But you know, it's definitely grown a lot over the years. You know, to the point, I mean, we got crowded, we overfilled venues. Unfortunately, we can't do this year, right? We're just not able to do this. You know, all the indications are by August, we'll still only be allowed to have 50 people groups. You know, I mean, there's probably, you know, there's close to 50 people in that short part of the hallway, near less, you know, what we have for CodePalooza. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? And then, sure enough, definitely, you know, the other important part of CodePalooza is food. I can't help you in the food part, you know, with going online, but you know, this was, you know, definitely, but also parties, right? We always try to hold great parties and have great events, right? And Louisville does make that very easy to do because there's so many great things right in this area. And as I said, this is our 10th anniversary, and you know, going into the event, we wanted to do something really special. And then, I mean, it was funny. I met with GLI, who is the Louisville Chamber of Commerce. I met with them back on March 5th, and we were talking about some great things that we could do. And then it was just a couple days later where it became obvious that the United States was going to be affected by the coronavirus. So, you know, it really, you know, and anyone who followed us along knew, you know, we did a whole lot of, you know, well, we're definitely still going to be in person. And then we said, well, look, we're going to have a hybrid event. And then, you know, and then we finally had to make a decision that we have to go to an online event. And so that's what we're doing. But one of the big things I want to say, this is not a virtual event, right? Because this is a real event in every sense. We're going to have all the things you would normally have in a community event, you know, just online. It's going to be an online event experience. And I've been working hard to make that happen, right? And, you know, not just me, actually, I should say, you know, everyone I've been working with, you know, to include our partners, our vendors, but also, you know, those folks that I mentioned on the executive committee. You know, so that's what we've been working with. So sure enough, I mean, I'm gonna talk. I don't want to do an advertisement for these companies, but I'm going to talk about who's going to be able to make this happen, right? And I part of this is donut care packages. So I like that. Part of this is also, I know several people on here are also event organizers. So this is also my way of sharing to other event organizers possibilities. So we're going to be using Hoppin. So Hoppin's a newer service, just launched last year, but they wanted to take a fresh approach to online events. And they started before there was a pandemic, and which means they've been exploding, you know, because obviously they're getting more and more stuff. You know, funny, you talk about how it feeds a family of four. I did eat one of those whole things. It was good. It was really good. All right, so anyway, we're looking at using Hoppin, and Hoppin's great. And one of the things that's great about it is it has these main areas. So the first thing it has is it has a reception area. You know, so when you come to the CodePalooza event, which, you know, you'll go to a different URL, which will, you know, when you buy a ticket, we'll give you the URL and the sign-in, you know, information you're going to need for that. But But once you go in here, you have the reception, and which is great. It's going to show you like everything's going on right that moment, right? So you'll know, oh, these sessions are going on right now. Here's what's coming up next. It has all that great information. For those who are watching Bill is doing something very similar. I think this, Hoppin does a little bit cleaner, and that's no hit on build. It was also hard to put that together all as they did. But here we'll have that. The next area they have is what they have, basically their main stage, right? And here, this is where our keynote will be. This is where we'll have other things going on through the day. Some great presentations where we'll be highlighting things. Well, along with that, I mean, obviously, it does sessions. And sure enough, a little bit cat out of the bag, as I have a slide about this later, but we're going to have up to 13 sessions going on each hour, right? Which will be the most sessions we've ever had. It'll definitely be a big change for what we've done in the past. Not really a big change, but it'll be more onto what we're doing. But before you say, oh my goodness, how can I attend that many sessions at one time? Just give me a second. All right, the next thing it has, and here's what's really cool. It has a networking feature. You can kind of think of this as a speed dating, because it is the whole thing. It matches people together, and randomly, and allows you to meet people. So think of this as replacing those hallway conversations. Evo Tech Monkey, thank you so much for following. I really do appreciate that. So I mean, here you still will be able to meet new people and talk to new people, and that will be awesome just to have that ability. And then finally, they have their expo area, and I really like the way how Hoppin does this. So there are plenty of people who will do expo areas. Usually, it's more static. It allows for put up a page for each of the sponsors, and they can have some links to gather information and such. Every once in a while, some of the more expensive ones have where they can have pre-recorded videos, so you can watch a video about everything. So Hoppin has all that, but on top of it, there's actually the ability to have live video conversations with the sponsored booths, right? So still, as a sponsor, sponsors will still have those connections with the attendees, which is what they really want, but on the vice versa, right? Attendees can still have those conversations with those sponsors. So I really hope this will help a whole lot, get sponsors in, and again, more than for the money, but for the whole idea of being able to have those communications. Yesterday, I mean, this reminds me, I was in the vendor swag would be a little bit interesting, but yesterday, part of Build, they were actually having a round table on how to make Build better, right? With the online type stuff. And it was interesting. Someone said, look, I've attended every Build, and he said, I hardly spend any time in the sessions. I spend all the time in the expo area, right? And that is something that why people go to events. So hopefully, we can keep that going. The other great part about Hoppin is that it has chat all over the place. So there's a chat for the event. There's a chat for all the sessions. There's a chat for the booths. There's meeting chats, right? There's for the speakers. There's a backstage chat, so you can chat with with one of the members of my team who will be there to assist you. And then you can also send direct messages to one attending to the other. Now, I want to say, code of conduct will still be in effect. And I when I was putting these slides together, when I saw, when I was seeing again the direct messages, I'm like, ooh, got to be careful with that, because unfortunately people are stupid. We will be enforcing code of conduct, and and anyone who saw what we did in 2018, we will kick you out if you violate that code of conduct. We've done it in the past, and I will do it again. So that's Hoppin. And I forgot to mention on the session, the other thing I can actually allow attendees to create sessions, at the go. And I'll talk more about that here in a moment. The other big change that will happen is we're going to do a new Codepalooza website. Codepalooza website, it's okay. All right. I mean, in all honesty, right? It meets the needs, but it could definitely be better. And sure enough, this has been one of my personal projects for this year. We will have a new website. Yes, we're going to have open spaces. I'll be getting to that, Dave. Yeah, we're going to be redoing the website primarily for the post event, right? You know, because you're going to be able to view the videos afterwards, right? And so we'll be updating the website to have that. The other big thing I want to do on the website, the one thing about the website today is it was designed to only show the current year's event, you know, and really would like to be able to you know, if I want to see who spoke last year, you know, have that. Funny part is all the data's there. I just need to create screens to allow you to see that. And the last partner I want to talk about is the Hyatt Regency. And there's a couple of reasons why I want to talk about this. One, they have been a great partner for us this year. You know, and you got to think about it. I mean, obviously, they're losing a lot of money this year because no one's staying at the hotels.